Living Your Best Life. Please welcome Rosalyn Kahn.
Good morning, everybody. This is Rosalyn Kahn from Chow Entertainment, KGNT Las Vegas, reporting to you live from beautiful Los Angeles. We have with us the incredible, the amazing George Takis, who has just opened up a new center to help lots of people in the world. But first, we must take a trip back memory lane and see how we met. George and I were in one of those professional development classes years ago. I remember sitting at this table and everybody talked about this dream. And this gentleman said, I had a hurried past, and I decided based on my hurried past, I wanted to create a home. And about 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call and he said, "You'll never guess what it's." And so, George, take us away. Tell us your story.
It began, oh my Lord, let's see, I'm 65, so let's see. When I was in my 20s, yeah, when I was in my 20s, I had this dream to travel the world. That was my passion, was to get out and see the world. I always, read pirate stories when I was little, and dreamed of, like, Peter Pan
Yep.
and Treasure Island. It was always fascinating to me to be an explorer and see things and do things. Yeah, I don't know what to do and how to do it, but I thought, well, let's see. Maybe I could be a merchant seaman. I even signed up to be a merchant seaman. I go to the school up in San Francisco. That didn't work out. And then I thought, well, I could be a flight attendant. And I interviewed at least 20 airlines and never was hired. And a friend of mine said, well, you could go into the travel business, maybe work in a travel agency or own one. And it was an easier path to go. So I went to school and studied a little bit on it. There wasn't a whole lot you could do back then, graduate courses and business courses in travel. But I found two, one at the University of Niagara, the other one at the University of Hawaii. And of course, I couldn't afford to go to either one. So I ended up at West LACC, and they had a little satellite program, and I did okay there. And I was working part-time in the business, in the marina, and the agency I worked for had a lot of entertainment clients. And I ended up getting the majority of them because of my personality. I expected to be the entertainment crowd. And yeah, I just kind of had a knack for it and started building a bit of a business book. And a friend of mine's was a tour guide. She would go all over the world and take tours and wanted to settle down, have a family. Her mom died, left her some money, and called me up one day and said, "Hey, let's start a travel company up." I don't have any money. I'm in school. Don't worry about it. Your brain's my money. You got the looks. I got the brains. Let's make lots of money. So we started a little travel company up here in Los Angeles on Century Boulevard. And within 3 years' time, I was in my mid-20s, we grew it to be the largest professional sport and entertainment travel company in the United States.
Wow.
And we had everybody, film, let's see, motion picture, film, television, professional sporting associations, just not, anybody you'd see on a red carpet, all the way from, Michael Jackson to U2 to Rick, all those people, this is prior to the internet, all of those people were our clients. And I mean, all of them. So it was a big transition in my life from this little pot smoking kid that, grew up here at the beach. I live at the beach here in the South Bay. To life in the fast lane. And I was everywhere, royalty, guest of governments. I don't even know where I was at the time. I'd go to work, and 4 hours later, I'd be packing my bags to go to Rio. So I had this crazy life that I got thrust into that I loved because I wanted to travel, right? That was my goal. So, but I was the operations of it and the brains behind it. So I had to be there. So I struck a deal with my partner where I would be in a different country every 3 weeks until either I got burnt out on work, burnt out on her, or burnt out on life. So I did that. And if you remember the 80s, which the old saying is, if you remember the 60s, you probably weren't there. But if you remember the 80s, cocaine was like Starbucks. that was the days of Studio 54 and, Rick James. And I mean, cocaine was really glamorous. I mean, if you were involved in celebrities and cocaine and models and entertainment, that was it. You were there, you were living the life. And so I got caught up in that crowd, in that high life. So I would take off every 3 weeks. I was in a different country every 3 weeks for 13 years, and just mostly partying with royalty, Eurotrash. I didn't care who it was, and then I'd fly back in, take care of business, fly back out, and became kind of a Wolf of Wall Street lifestyle, and it got out of control. Actually, it's fun. I mean, you can imagine being on tour. Look at any rock and roll band or entertainment group that tours, theatrical, and they tour for maybe a year, that's it. And they stop, but imagine doing that 13 years. You don't even know where you are, what time it is, who your friends are, did I feed fish? Do I have fish? Uh, yeah, but what happened is I realized that I started to resent the structure of my business and the people that were in it. So I hired a big board of directors and got some Harvard MBAs to run it, so that I could escape and do this without worrying about my business. So that's that. It's a kind of a cunning, devilish plot that I concocted to allow me to live this lifestyle until I couldn't do it anymore, and I had a nervous breakdown. Things went wrong. I'm not going to get into too many details, and I was in my 30s, Ross, and my hair started falling out, my skin started flaking. We got involved with the wrong people, international, terrible criminals, money laundering schemes. I mean, everything you can see in a movie became reality in my business. The whole thing. So I sold my half of the business to my partner. I retired and took a break for a couple of years. A little lost at that point. I didn't know what to do. So my wife and I looked at the checkbook and figured one of us has got to get back to work. So we figured it would be me. She happened to be in real estate. And of course, my clients became her clients. So we were able to purchase real estate and have a pretty good life and income properties, all that. So, and she wanted to be a mom. We wanted to start a family. We did. So I went back to work and, started my career in real estate. But yeah, it's that the disease of addiction stayed with me. We continued to use cocaine, even though we weren't in the lifestyle anymore. We didn't realize that we had become addicted. And with that being said, it didn't set a good tone, obviously, for the basis of raising a family. So we got sober, and it's funny though, we didn't get sober until after we had the kids, believe it or not. We still were using almost a dual life, Barbie and Ken. The Barbie movie here just started. We were almost Barbie and Ken, PTA moms and dads in the daytime, little shiny little people driving Mercedes and living in beautiful homes. And at night, we're Charlie Sheen and Lindsay Lohan, was living this crazy duality life. And one day, there was a knock on our door of a woman with a clipboard and her eyeglasses down here on her nose, and two policemen next to her. And she's asking if she could speak to George Takis. And I said, yeah, I'm George Takis. She says, oh, I don't know her name. I'm so-and-so from the Department of Children's Services. No, what can I do? He said, well, is Risha here? That's my wife's name. And I said, yeah. Well, we need to talk to her. She missed a drug counseling appointment. It's her third one that she missed. And I didn't realize it, but my wife had been going to counseling appointments to try to get sober. She didn't tell me, right? And when you miss an appointment, it's okay. But if you miss three, they're obligated. DCS is obligated to call social services because they want to check up on the household, right? Because there's kids there, and it's a lottery. I mean, there's 3 or 4 social workers for this entire district, And your name just happened to pop up that day, so they go see you. So I call it a God shot. That's what we call it in recovery, when something kind of you didn't plan on happens, and and happens in a beneficial way. So it was kind of funny, she asked me, she said, was there a problem here? I kind of just looked at her, and I was tired of running and tired of living this lie, and just I don't know. That moment, I just looked at her and I said, "Yeah, I think there's a problem." And she looked back and she said, "Gee, most people don't say that. Most people slam the door in our face and says no warrant, and that's the end of it." And she goes, "Would you like to talk about it?" And I said, "Sure." And so I invited her in. Like, wife and kids are sitting at the dinner table, and here I walk in with this little lady with these two big cops, and hi, and introductions, a little bit of chatter, and so the woman asked if we didn't mind if she talked to my daughter. And my daughter probably was maybe 7, 8 years old. So we said, no, I guess okay, because they want to check on them, make sure that they're eating right. So she took my daughter by her hand, and walked into her bedroom. And the feeling in my gut when I saw that, and the cops say same with my son, and they walked him into his bedroom. And my wife and I are just looking at each other, and our children are going away with officials in our home, and came back out, a minute or two, and everything's fine. And we decided to go through it's funny, the National Council for Alcoholism and Drug Dependency is the national program of sobriety, and they have an office in Torrance, voluntary program, like $60. And I had gone to some pretty expensive rehabs, no luck, and ended up there and ended up getting sober. So that moment, when I saw that, when my son and daughter were walking with the police and the Department of Children's Services, that precise moment was the absolute last time I ever picked up and used anything, alcohol, drugs. And I've been sober now for almost 20 years.
Wow. Wow.
So with that being done, I started going to meetings, AA, and started realizing there are other individuals that have the same disease of addiction that were not in 5-star resorts in Rio like me, and partying with movie stars and rock and rollers. There was a huge section of the population, mostly young people, that had been raised in abusive homes, foster care, often no childhood whatsoever, living on the street, couch surfing. I mean, the underbelly of addiction, which, say if you're a person like me. And I'd sit in the rooms and I'd hear the stories, and I'd see these beautiful kids, and I'd like to think of my own children. So I began buying properties and flipping them, because at the time I got sober was a lucrative time to do that. And I started housing street kids and taking them in, and I didn't care. It was felons, it was hookers, it was strippers, it was anybody. I just got senior sober people to live in the homes. I partnered with Habitat for Humanity. I furnished them. I bought used cars from the auto shop at Palos Verdes High School, so they had transportation. And I did whatever I could to give back, because unfortunately, when we got sober, Lindsay Lohan and Charlie Sheen went away, and George and Risha surfaced. And we looked at each other like, who are you? We were inseparable. We were in that lifestyle, but we had nothing, almost anything in common other than children, bank accounts, and property. And we looked at each other, well, what are we going to do? I said, well, I'll stay in the marriage, and we'll be parents until the kids graduate, so at least they have a mom and dad. So I stayed in basically a loveless marriage for 12 years. We did what we did. We tried to be as civil as we could, and towards the end, it didn't work out that way. But in doing that, I grew. I grew spiritually, and I also grew in charity and philanthropy. Because I realized what happens is when you're an addict, which I genetically predisposition to addiction to that certain substance, which is a pleasure to me. So, I don't like depression. I don't like opioids. I don't like alcohol. I like, give me up, give me speed, give me coke, give me stuff that's fun, so that's my pleasure. And since I had no love in my life, I started loving strippers and hookers and felons and criminals and homeless people and anybody I could put my arms around to help, and I would feel their love. They were like, oh, thank you. Gee, thank you. You don't have to do that. I go, no, no, you're right. I don't, but I want to. So I replaced that pleasure button that I got from cocaine, which basically releases oxytocins and oh my God, and all the pleasure centers in the back of your brain. That's what cocaine. That's why it's such a great drug. Everybody wants to use it because it's euphoric, right? And when I began doing charity and helping people, those same chemicals started releasing. So it became an addiction. So all of a sudden now I'm addicted to helping people. Down the road, I began working with a gentleman by the name of Justin Mayo. He's the descendant of the Mayo Clinic Trust Fund. He's the grandson, and he has a 501c3 here in Los Angeles. And he works with a lot of celebrities. So we started working with the Kardashians and the Jenners and Kanye West and started doing events with them downtown LA and Skid Row. So I enrolled my men's team, and we have a mobile kitchen, and we would go and cook for these big events. And one day I was outside the Midnight Mission, and the director came down. This was a Mother's Day event. And Kim Kardashian used to do a Mother's Day event down there, a really neat event. And we did cooking for her. And he said, hey, he goes, who are you guys? And we said, well, we're a men's group, we're called Kaizen Dojo, and we're out here volunteering today and cooking for the Homeless Mothers Makeover event. He goes, gee, I wish you would have called us and let us know. Oh, okay. Well, what's the deal? And he said, well, we prepare, Midnight Mission prepares about 1 million meals a year for the homeless here in Los Angeles.
Right.
Amazing, right? And lunch and breakfast, they probably feed a couple hundred people. He said, when you guys come here, because we cook with seasoning and grandma's recipes and all that, they eat your food. They come up here, they don't want to eat our food. The cafeteria food. We make all these gourmet burritos. He said, we waste food basically. And I said, it's great you're here, but there's cleanup and paper plates and they throw them all over. And we get it, but we clean up. And he goes, you guys want to see what we do? And I said, yeah, sure. So he took us on a tour, and Midnight Mission's incredible. They've been there 120 years, downtown LA. They are the largest provider of homeless services in the city of LA. They have, oh my God, they have their own mail, post office there. They have a world-class gym. They have penthouse apartments. They have a library. They have a computer center. They have a barbershop. They have a beauty. They have everything. The Midnight Mission's amazing. It's like Club Med for homeless people. And he said, and we also have a scholarship program. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So City of LA puts up money to run people through their program, and Medi-Cal, a bunch of different sources, and private donations. So I thought, gee, kind of neat. So I started donating. Every time I close a real estate deal, I would write a check and towards a scholarship. And then I would get phone calls from, graduates of the program, really cute, people that were homeless, and, they'd leave a message for me and say, oh, hi, this is so-and-so. Thank you for your donation. I went through the program. Now I'm a productive member of society. And then, I would get high, there it is right there. And, long story short, a large grant was given to the mission. It didn't work out. The director who I had befriended, and we had become very good friends, called me and said, the system's not working anymore. Government isn't getting the message. As you can see, just drive anywhere in LA. It's the situation's not getting better. I don't care how much they try, because it's designed not to. We won't go into that. But he said, I've got everybody that I work with here in the city and the county, and they're all fed up too. COVID burnt out a lot of people, and the social services are stretched beyond.
Right.
People are undervalued and underpaid, and they're tired of it. So we put a collective together of those people. They're still in their jobs. We're opening.
Right.
What happens is this feasibility study gets done, and the grant gets denied, but the feasibility study is amazing, and it gets coupled with an existing program, and then a better mousetrap gets built, and people from the jail systems, people from social services, and from all the key areas decide to join this new company, our
Right.
company, and to birth it. So we need funding. So I go out and knock on doors, and I'm down to the last. God, please, this one. If not, I don't
Yep.
know what I'm going to do. And
Yep.
sure enough, I get a yes. I get money, and now we're opening our first office in Inglewood in about 30 days. So we'll have our. It's called, the name of our company is Project Surrender. So
Wow.
keep your eyes open for that.
How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So www dot, all one word, projectsurrender.com.
Okay.
Okay. You'll get to see, who we are and what we do. And my personal email, it's easy. It's my name. It's George, and the letter P like purple. The last name Takis, like the chips.
Okay.
So georgeptakis.com. And my phone is on 24/7. I get calls in the middle of the night from all kinds of distressed people that are committing suicide, people that need help, as well as my business. So I leave it on and I sleep next to it, not with it, but next to it. And that number is 310-698-2568. And we are welcoming anybody and everybody, Rosalyn, that has any kind of interest whatsoever in helping. We all need help. And there's a lot of help here. Boy, we can put people to work. We're for profit. We have a great business model. And we have a 10-year rollout plan to open in 26 cities here in LA County, as well as Nevada, Texas, and Cleveland. We also have a nonprofit, and it's to help children.
Okay.
And that will start up in about 6 months. And that's to get little guys, anywhere between the ages of 10 and 13, out and about in the real world, so they can see what it's like on the other side of the fence, where they'll never be exposed to anything like that. We have corporate days, we have camps, real neat stuff. They can go hang out with executives, they can hang out in studios, they can go into the courtrooms, they can hang out with their local sports stars. It's really neat. It's neat. It gets kids who are underserved and underprivileged to look up high, so they can see there's something over the horizon. They're not victims of their environment. There's actually something out there that they can aspire to. So it's called Generation Invincible. So that's a lot of fun, and that's going to be a good time.
Well, fantastic. Well, what I love the most about your story, George, is the fact that as a young child, you had a vision to travel the world and to see all these places, and you made that happen. And so often we don't know how lucky we are until we realize that when you get everything you want, it's not all the toys that you have. There's other things that happen. And what amazes me is when most people slam the door in the face, you said, I need help, and they gave you the help that you need. And so here you are, and you took your addiction to going ahead and helping people who are otherwise in a bad place. So it's like a win-win. And you remember the horror of your kids being taken away and the fact that you've got this new thing for the next generation. We're just off to great and many things. I'm so glad that you gave me that call and said your dream has become a reality, because here we are. This is Rosalyn Kahn. Before Zoom goes ahead and kills us off, I'm Rosalyn Kahn from KGNT out of Las Vegas. Chow Entertainment is behind us, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much. Gratitude beyond words. You can always find me at Rosalyn Kahn. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.